Hello, if anyone is here. If not, well, this is awkward. Make sure everything is working properly. And it looks good so far. Matt Smith, hello. Looks good. All right. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? Anyone that's here? 2 people. Oh, up to 5 people. All right. Tonight we're just going off script. We're doing whatever. Obviously we're gonna focus on the court case. It seems like not a lot has happened today. I mean, there was like discussions and there was questioning, but I'll be real with you. It's a bunch of stuff that's over my head, and I don't fully understand. So, yeah, we're gonna do our best to break it down, and yeah, we'll get to it. Kloss NZ, Kloss, welcome. Is it February yet? Oh well, I have the wrong month on my calendar. I should probably change that, but yeah, that's unfortunate. It's not November anymore. I know that much. It is indeed December. December 8th to be exact. So, yeah. Let's go through some random news first. Let's go least shocking or less. Let's just. I'm rambling. Frankie Muniz is going to go full time once again in the trucks. He was full time last year with the Rheaume brothers, and they're now Team Rheaume. I got to figure out how to pronounce that. He's also going to do some SRO GT4 America Series in a Ford Mustang GT4. So that's pretty neat. Good for him. Obviously, Frankie Muniz, former, I think he still acts, so current actor, and he is also a race car driver. So he's going to remain full-time. Remember, he was full-time in trucks last year, but he did miss a few races due to an injury. I think it was a wrist injury, I want to say. So, yeah, hopefully he's all healed up, obviously, and then we'll see him next year in the truck series. So that's that. Alpha Prime announced that LeVar Scott will compete full-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, driving the number 45. Big opportunity for him. He's done a bunch of ARCA. He's made a couple of Xfinity or truck starts already, I believe. So big opportunity for him. Now, this is the shocker here. This is the shocker. Nick Sanchez, who won a race for Big Machine Racing last year, had a really good year. As I said, won in his first year with the team. Like, it was a really big deal last year what he did. He had a fantastic season. Over the weekend, I was informed that I will not be driving the number 48 for Big Machine Racing in 2026. I'm grateful to Scott Borchetta, Patrick Donahue, everyone at Chevrolet, and the whole team. I am proud of all we have accomplished this year, including our win. Unfortunate timing and circumstances, but strictly business. When one door closes, another one opens. Excited about what is ahead. I mean, this is horrific timing for Nick Sanchez. It's early December. It's almost mid-December. And Nick Sanchez all of a sudden does not have a ride. That's not good. Most of the seats are pretty filled up right now. Like, this is not ideal for him. I mean, hopefully he can find something, whether it's part-time, full-time, Xfinity, truck, O'Reilly Auto Part, truck, whatever it may be, because, I mean, as I said, he had a pretty good season last year. So this was shocking to see this morning, I would say. This was kind of out of nowhere, I feel like. I don't know what the reasoning or context behind it is, but it'd be nice to know. Now we're back to lawsuit and F1 if we want to get into that. John Berger, hello, welcome. Glad that the drama of Formula One is over. Final boss has fallen. Someone else won the world championship. Now I can get back to classic F1, like old races and stuff. I'm assuming you want NASCAR to lose. John wants NASCAR to lose the lawsuit. I'm neutral. So, Yeah, I guess we can go through this, do our normal process of just blowing through some tweets here. Dry morning so far in the NASCAR trial. They finished up with Race Team Alliance executive Jonathan Marshall, cross-examination, and testimony. This is where it gets spicy, all right? So today was pretty dull, it seemed like not much happened. They talked to an expert who threw out a bunch of charts and numbers that go over my head if I'm being honest. But look who is on this witness list. Steve Phelps, that's going to be spicy because obviously he has some text to answer to. And then Richard Childress. Can they please be back-to-back on the same day, preferably? I hope they get to the courtroom at the same time. And they go in the same door, go through the same security line. I just hope everything works out to where they walk into that building at the same time and that someone has a camera on them. Obviously, no cameras allowed in this courtroom, but I think the judge should allow it for this, for Richard Childress and Steve Phelps. Yeah. That's going to be something. Oh, yeah, dude, Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair in theaters. Oh, that was crazy. Awesome movie. Anyways, an economist is in the middle of his testimony. I think he was the dean of business schools at University of Virginia, Yale, and University of Chicago. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. There you go. I believe you need to read that. Some more stuff. Here we go. Edward Snyder is the name. Edward A. Snyder, apologies. An economic expert that specializes in industrial organization, which also deals directly with antitrust, is in the middle of testifying. The plaintiff's questioning focused on three conducts of NASCAR: exclusivity on tracks, exclusivity on teams, and exclusivity on cars. Snyder cited the track exclusivity, you can't make me pronounce that word too many times, agreements, the 12-month idle period for outgoing team owners, and the IP protections of the next-gen car as examples, and that they reduce visibility with outside entry, and that they are examples of anti-competitive conduct. Plaintiffs argue that without NASCAR's alleged anti-competitive measures, they would receive higher increases in team revenue and that the market value of teams would increase. For his analysis, Snyder used F1 as a benchmark series to compare NASCAR with, giving their similarities, but with the exception that F1 does not own venues or have non-compete clauses. From 2017 to 2024, F1 teams received 45% of the revenue. Snyder said that even though the teams received a biggest share of revenue in the 2025 through 31 agreement than 2016 through 24, the increase is still below the team's market value. Math. The two teams suing NASCAR are asking for... Okay, so here's where we get some numbers. Dude. I don't know how they find these numbers. They put it in a chart somewhere. The teams, this is combined. So both teams, 23-11 I think is like 200 and something, and front row is 100 and something. There's a chart somewhere. $365 million in combined damages from the series for an alleged anti-competitive conduct per its economist who did the calculation. He also disputed that NASCAR would go bankrupt if forced to pay an extra $300 million per year to teams. Okay, how he calculated that number? No clue. He is the team's economist, so I'm assuming that the teams, they fed him some information teams-wise, obviously from their perspective. Obviously, the NASCAR perspective is going to be different and say, no, it's not that big of a number. Just the thought of $365 million. You get that in cash or check? Maybe they Venmo it. But if you Venmo more than, $600, I think the IRS comes knocking on your door. So maybe they just do a bunch of Venmo payments of $599. I don't know. Anyways, that's a huge number. We talked about big numbers last week. We said $14 million for Denny Hamlin. That was a lot of money. Let me pop over to the calculator over here. And 365 divided by 14 equals... That is 26 times the number we just talked about last week. So, yeah, that's a huge number. Okay. Moving on, I guess I should get the mouse back over here. So, yeah, so according to Jeff Gluck, this was a pretty boring day of court. Court is over for the day. If you ever dreamed of being transported back to a college class where you just stared at the clock and couldn't believe how slowly it was moving, this was a perfect day for you. Otherwise, nothing much happened. So, in terms, Friday, we kind of did a wrap-up of week one, and we talked about everything that happened in week one. We could theoretically go back to that, but the comment section's pretty dead right now. I mean, we haven't been talking about much here. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, yes, and this was a big note here. So, normally you got your normal business hours. Gronk, nobody wants you. Stop it. How many times do I have to hit X? Good grief. Yeah. Okay, back to the original point. I got distracted. So, the normal, business hours and whatever, it's 9 to 5, right? Well, they have actually extended it court by 30 minutes on each side because this is such a slow court case. This is such a slow process because both sides are asking too many questions, I guess. So to save time so that this thing does not go too many days, to condense time, I guess would be the proper phrasing, the judge has thrown 30 minutes on each end to condense the amount of days. So it's actually going to be 8:30 to 5:30 as opposed to 9 to 5. So, yeah. And also, I think he yelled at the attorneys for submitting something at like 2:52 a.m. I don't know. Things are wild. It's crazy. Here we go. Here's the chart I referenced earlier. Can you see it? Can you actually see it? Okay, you can't. That's a perfect cutoff. Well, you can see someone that said bad words. Those are not my words. Okay, so here's how we get the number breakdown. So, number breakdown here. Lost profits from reduced revenues, 2021 through 2024. 2311, 41.3 million. Front row, 43.2 million. All right, it's close numbers. And this number is so big. I don't know how this number is so, like every other number is pretty close. Granted, we're talking about 3 numbers here. Lost revenues, 10.7 versus 9.4. That's not a huge percentage change. This isn't a huge percentage change. This is almost double. Maybe that's a little too harsh. 3/4, 75%, maybe. Let's call it that. Total reduction in market value, 163.8 million. 96.4 million. Once again, I don't know how they got these numbers. I don't know how they calculated these numbers, but there's the chart of the damages that 2311 and Front Row are accusing. So it's a nice, pretty chart. You see the total number is highlighted as it should be, so you don't get it confused. Calculate yourself if you wanted to. You see 7 plus 5, 15, plus 3, so you get a 0.8. There you go. We're not actually mathing this all out, but hold on. We are mathing this out. 4, 4, 2. That's a 0, should it not? Hold on. All right, we're doing math again. 43.2 plus 96.4 plus 9.4 equals. That's 149. They mathed it. I mean, it's 0.1, but 149. They mathed this wrong. Please say they have another chart where they actually got the numbers right. What's the law on this? Can the entire case get thrown out because they did the math wrong? Oh my God, could you imagine? Steven, hello, welcome. Javi, hello, welcome. Steven says solution next time the charters are up for renewal, all the teams refuse to sign. Well, that's the problem, is that not all the teams are going to have the same thinking. Everyone was concerned about themselves, their employees mainly, their future in the sport, the legacy that they built. Is it really going to all come crumbling down because we didn't sign this and everyone else did? Well, yeah, that's ultimately what it came down to. And multiple teams have referenced that they had to do it for their employees, their legacy, like Richard Childress. Heather Gibbs literally testified in court this, by the way, last week. Javier says, why can't NASCAR go back to traditional owner points from chart? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how they decide the point system. Frankly, the points format right now is stupid and needs to be dealt with before we get on to other things. So, Butterman asked, show more. Oh, that's so much easier. Snyder, how he concluded a rival series would form to NASCAR by 2021 if NASCAR hadn't engaged in anti-competitive actions, exclusivity deals with tracks, team, and car. To which Snyder said that proof is in NASCAR's documents as executives were expressing concern over that scenario and the sport took the actions outlined to combat that. So I think that's saying that if a rival series came up, how would NASCAR deal with it? And, you know, there was those texts saying they needed to kill the SRX or whatever. Oh my God, NASCAR has 16 witnesses. Can we cut that to 4? Can we get this thing over with by like next Monday? Actually, like if we could end this a week from today, that would be ideal. I'm going out of town for the weekend, and frankly, or I'm leaving this week. I'm leaving the week. Frankly, it would work much better. I'm going to be selfish here and say it would work much better if this court case into next Monday. But I know everyone wants to get it over with. So if it ends early, that's great. More charts. All right, we already looked at this chart with the bad math. This chart, 2025 season lost revenue damages mythology. Okay, so we do actually get some reasoning here. Charter teams have 2 fixed payments from NASCAR under the 2025 charter agreement. Fixed owners plans, performance plan. Plaintiffs did not receive these charter payments from NASCAR for 2025 during the last 16 races. Plaintiffs lost 2 components of revenue for 2025. Plaintiffs' costs remain the same because they incurred costs to compete for the full season. Total 2025 lost revenue for 2311 equals $10.7 million. Don't know how they got that number. I don't know. Math is hard enough, but when you don't tell me how you got to that number, I don't know. And then once again, there's front row. And then math. It somehow got there. Don't ask me how. I don't know. This is so frustrating. I don't know any of this stuff. Furniture Row reference here. Of note, both Jonathan Marshall from RTA and Professor Snyder, who is the economic expert who was once the dean at multiple universities, high universities, I might say. There's an Ivy League in there, Yale. Have highlighted that Furniture Row Racing, it's okay, going out of business the year after they won the championship as being very concerning. Snyder identifies that you just don't see championship-winning teams immediately go out of business for economic reasons in any other sport. And then I think the counter-argument from NASCAR was because Joe Gibbs Racing jacked up the alliance price or whatever with Toyota. So, but still, it was just too much for him. Okay, here we go. We got more charts. Lost profits. Gronk, I swear. Stop. It's going to drive me crazy the rest of the live streams we do on this. Lost profits from 2021 to 2024. I got to zoom in on this a little bit. I'll pull it over so you can actually see it. I think you can see it. You could cut off a little bit. But if I got to come over here first, I think. All right, close enough. Oh my goodness, it's glitching out now. There we go. Now you can see everything. Perfect. All right, I knew that would work out eventually. Reduction in teams' market value, difference in market value due to NASCAR's anti-competitive conduct as of December 31st, 2024. Additional lost revenues, lower revenues during part of the 2025 season as a result of not receiving the payments made to the charter teams. Okay. Oh my goodness. Once again, I don't know how they got these numbers, but at least they rounded, I guess. Can we just get to the part where Richard Childress gets on the stand? I want to hear what he has to say. That's going to be my favorite day of court, whenever Richard Childress is in there. Outside of that, this is This is a little bit boring. I believe in everyone to look at these numbers themselves. Me saying them is not going to do anything. Oh, great. More numbers. Okay. Let's see. Didn't we just look at these numbers? These numbers look very familiar. Okay. Cool. I think we just looked at the same numbers. Anyways. Oh, God. More charts. Okay, more charts. Sure, why not? Here's the calculation for all you math experts out there want to see how it's calculated. 4.3 times 40.2 equals 172.4. Cool. 2.6 times 31.1 equals 80.1. Neat. 172.4 minus 80.1, 92.3. Times 2 is 184.6. 184.6 minus 20.9. Yep, that's sure. I'm not even like thinking this through. This is math right here, guys. 2.6 times 11.8 equals 30.4. Cool. 4.3 times 18.3, 78.6. Minus 30.4 is 48.2. Sure. Times 2 equals 96.4. And that's how they got these numbers. Okay. Cool. So that's how they got those numbers. I'll take their word for it. Maybe. I don't know. The afternoon was definitely quite a slog. I appreciated the opportunity to get the lay of the land. Bless the jury. They were trying to hang it. Yeah, this is how I feel. If I was on that jury and they're throwing all these big numbers in these charts that I don't even know where the numbers came from or how they got the numbers, man, I don't know. This whole thing's confusing enough as is. Like, now we've got numbers involved. You're starting to lose me. Can we just, as I said earlier, can we just get to Richard Childress? That's going to be exciting. Yeah, so that's the additional time we already talked about. Team economist Edward Snyder gave 2 examples of what he said were F1 teams getting more money after the threat of a competitor emerged. NASCAR noted F1 now has longer track deals than itself, despite the economist saying F1 is an example of a series that is not a monopoly. That's a good point. Like, a lot of these tracks in F1, they get like 20-year deals. It's like, oh, we've extended the Miami Grand Prix through 2045. And it's like, wait, hold on, 2045? All right, sure. We've extended the Circuit of the Americas through 2038. 2038? What? What that number? Like, what? Why'd you pick that year? I don't know how the deals work with NASCAR tracks. If NASCAR owns the tracks, the deals are pretty simple. But with like SMI and stuff, but obviously, it's pretty flexible with the NASCAR because you do have some tracks that get multiple dates, some that don't. You take one date, give it to another, and you're able to shift things around. So, yeah. He said in his world where there's a competitor, he estimated NASCAR would increase total team payouts by $300 million annually, and NASCAR could adjust to do it. NASCAR attorney asked why assume its revenue and team/NASCAR sponsorships would not decrease. I guess that's a fair question. I mean, yeah, there's a competitor series, competition, building on competition, trying to beat someone else. You rise to another level you didn't know you had, and then they go to another level, and then you go to another level, things like that. You just raise each other's game. Whereas if it's just you're not competing with anyone, how do you raise your game? I guess that's the argument. NASCAR brought in cross-examination. Okay, here's what I was saying. So earlier they mentioned Furniture Row Racing and that they shut down a year after winning the championship. Well, the counter-argument was the NASCAR attorney said that Furniture Row sold its charter because Joe Gibbs Racing was doubling the amount it was charging for the technical alliance. Obviously, if Joe Gibbs Racing is charging money for the alliance, for the technical alliance, NASCAR can't control how much Joe Gibbs Racing charges for that alliance. How is that NASCAR's fault? That's what their argument is. I'm assuming. I'm thinking. And then he said in 2311's FRM Experts World, with a competitor, maybe BK Racing doesn't go bankrupt and FRM has no charter to buy. So then the other argument would be, oh, okay, well, if we had a competitor that was making us more money and we were able to pay out teams more, well, then you wouldn't have had the opportunity to get this charter or sell this or buy this charter, buy this other charter, because those teams would still be in business. That's another argument that they're making there. Yes, it's still slow. NASCAR, they do these long essays at the end of all of this. Huh. Interesting. F1's rights go through 2040. All right. Cool. Oh, yes. More charts. Get excited, people. It's more charts. So thrilled. I love charts. Who doesn't love charts, people? Potential actions. Documentary evidence. Potential actions. What they would do. Reach out to potential broadcast partners to gauge interest in a new series. Oh, this is talking about a breakaway series. Okay, this is actually a little bit... It's more exciting than the numbers. Numbers are boring. Begin seeking outside investors to fund the startup costs. Saudi Arabia. That was the live, at least. Lock up drivers with the promise of minimum guaranteed salaries. Work to identify potential facilities where they can race. Okay, so this is if you're going to start your own breakaway series. These are the things you got to get settled first. You have to find a broadcast partner, someone who's actually going to put the race on TV so you can get some TV money. Find some outside investors to fund this thing, to get some parts, to get some cars, to get some track deals, things like that. Obviously, you need drivers, whether that's a NASCAR star, or whether that's finding someone else, going to another city, whatever it may be. You need drivers to drive the cars, and you do need some notoriety. You can't just go get Billy Joe and Johnny Jones and whoever. Like, you got to go get some big names to potentially help hype up and get people to watch. And then obviously they got to get facilities. They got to get tracks, and then also they would probably need a league office of some sort. Impacts and challenges. It would cause confusion in the marketplace and impact media rights. Bad for both sides. Incredibly high startup costs and require funding. Unclear where the drivers are today. Indication in meeting that drivers are together with them. Unlikely to find willing tracks that wouldn't require major capex. Okay. Oh, hey, look, that's kind of like the SRX. More stuff. Oh, look, NASCAR contemplated competitive entry like Live Golf. To Steve O'Donnell from Scott Prime. Oh, God, now you know their emails, everyone. There they are. I hope he changes the email or else he's going to get spammed. Proposed new golf model. Here, what are those figures? Is that a Euro sign? We got an A with a little thing on top of it, an accent, foreign language, and Saudi Euro sign. The latest, whatever that says, Saudi proposal to disrupt the PGA Tour. Easy to see how our teams or outside investors back the teams could propose something similar. So that was the fear of an outsider coming in, or a competitor series. What are our options? I'm assuming this is NASCAR, right? This is from NASCAR's perspective. Lock up SM Speedway Motorsports. Letter of intent, multi-year sanctions through 2025 plus acquisition. Approach Indy with a multi-year sanction through 2025 plus. Proposed direct compensation to drivers pre-2025. Vertical integration. Considerations. SM currently relying on media revenue to service debt. Open question about the go-forward succession plans. Could potentially give insight into team plans for Indy is not open to the idea. Likely viewed as a threatening move by owners. There is more money but not going to us. Question mark. Would require additional sources of funding. Fan/partner reaction likely to be negative up front. Would likely require significant paychecks to drivers to get them to leave. Huge operational shift to prep Thursday. Is this like the NASCAR, the nuclear option or whatever? This has to do with IP. Okay. We just looked at that email. Okay, this is an interesting note. I mean, we're to the end of the likes, guys. As I said, it didn't seem like much happened outside of a bunch of numbers and things I don't understand. It's an interesting little note here. 5 of the most 125 influential people in sports business of the past 25 years are expected to be in the courtroom. Lisa France Kennedy, Michael Jordan, Jeffrey Kessler, Roger Penske, Steve Phelps. Thought that was an interesting note. Anyone got anything? No? As I said, man, kind of boring. When's Richard Childress getting in there? That's what I want to know. Oh my. Bob Pockris just tweeted out, in case you were wondering, the hourly rate for the 2311 front row expert economist Edward Snyder is $1,650 an hour. He would have helped in preparing the reports. His initial expert report in this case was 150 pages, not including citations and exhibits. Dude, the lawyer fees and the expert fees in this are absurd. Like, what are they doing with that money? I don't even know. Like, just, that's crazy. Okay. Sure. Why not? Should buy the V8 Supercar Series as a basis of a new international series. I doubt they're selling. Who owns the Supercar Series? I don't even know who owns it, Chris. Anyways, there was too much math in this one today. Speaking of math, 2 points. That was the difference between the championship and F1. See what happens when you let his full season play out? Sometimes it gets exciting. Sometimes someone from 4 races back can come within 2 points. Isn't that crazy, NASCAR? Isn't that crazy? Anyone else? Anyone got anything exciting? This has been like the quickest stream in years on this channel. Anyone got anything exciting? Anyone got anything to say? Anyone got a note? Anyone got any interesting points they want to point out about the lawsuit? Or if someone knows legal stuff, if they want to throw something out there, and that'd be neat. I don't know. Let's see if there's anything interesting going on in the world. There's football. That's exciting. Okay, sure. I don't see anything. I'm trying to see if there's any new notes. Okay. Oh yeah. I almost wore my Thunder hat, but then I remembered it's the lawsuit, so I gotta wear the Krabby hat. Yeah, dude, the Thunder are 23-1. That's absurd. I'm a Thunder fan, so yeah, that's a good thing, but it's absurd like how 24 games in basketball. Like, do you know how much can go wrong in a basketball game if in 24 games and you've only had one of them? Like, you can have a bad shooting night as a team. Like, they've had injuries every single game, and they're still 23-1, which is horrifying. Anyways, lawsuits extended. We already talked about that. We talked about Nick Sanchez. No, not that. I'm looking at my second screen, trying to find something exciting because this stream has been so short, and I don't want to just rapidly end it. Let's see. A lot of people yelling at Notre Dame on the internet. Heisman finalist. I don't know. We might come back tomorrow. Tomorrow I might be able to do something. Hopefully Richard Childress takes the stand or Steve Phelps. Someone to make it exciting. Like, all due respect to this expert dude. But, yeah, dude, I got no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea how you got to those numbers. I don't know what the numbers all mean. So I need something juicier than numbers. I need Richard Childress to take off his watch or whatever. Someone hold his watch, or I don't know. Like, that's it. I mean, this is gonna be the worst stream in the history of this channel. And that's saying something because we've had some stinkers on here. So hopefully something exciting happens in court tomorrow that we can talk about, and we don't have to just look at charts and numbers and talk about experts and the extended hours. And I'm sure the Snyder guy is a great guy, and he's an expert at what he does for a reason. It's just not exciting to me. So, yeah. Unless anyone has anything else to say, that will be it. I'll give you 25 seconds. All right, I think that was 25 seconds. Well, okay. That'll do it. Shortest stream ever. Maybe the most boring stream ever. Cool. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably. Maybe. If something interesting happens, you'll for sure see me tomorrow. We'll do this again. If nothing exciting happens, then I'll see you at some point later. Maybe not the rest of this week, maybe next week, but hopefully at some point. So